Next week will, I think, be the second week, if I'm not mistaken, or I could be wrong.
Of
Or is it?
quarantine.
Yeah. Or was it the
I think it's the week number 3.
2, 1? It's the Shant and Ari podcast, you guys. Episode number 34. Shant, I'm gonna try to avoid asking you how you feeling. How's everything going on this fine
That's all
day?
right. It's all right. People are still out here a little bit. I don't think people are taking that serious yet.
People are buying guns, no?
Oh yeah, they're sold out, bro. Everywhere. I've gone a couple places. Been trying to stock up. You know.
So one of my employees came up and asked me if I own a gun because she saw it on TV. I said maybe. Didn't want to give her a yes or no answer.
You held
Maybe.
your belt like you're like I don't know, maybe.
Who's asking? So, push-up challenge, huh? Why'd you ignore my push-up? What? Can you give the actual?
Yeah, because it's getting annoying. Everyone's fucking doing a push-up challenge. Like, get over it. We all know you
How
do
many
push.
push-ups can you do?
I don't know, 50 maybe straight.
You
Not
couldn't
that
just
much.
you couldn't just show me up, do like 27 or something, real quick.
Well, it was 10. 10 challenge. What kind of challenge is that, bro? That's not a challenge. It's a warm up.
Have you been paying attention to the details of all these push-up challenges? Some of them they're going like they're putting on like wife beaters, special songs.
I mean, people are home now. It's like I saw basketball challenge, right? So I got tagged in that. Then it was sneaker challenge, like your top sneak. Like it's just been challenge after challenge, and I'm just like, fucking read a book or something, man. Like there's enough Netflix shows. You guys shouldn't be bored.
I got tagged in a open a bottle, send a bottle. Like you see somebody opening a bottle of like wine or like
Send the
Walker.
bottle.
Yeah. So long story short, though, a lot of personalities are starting to shine through in some of these challenges. Like I'm seeing like oh wow, oh this person can do 50. Wow, or like you could see like who this person chooses to tag. It's like, oh wow, like so like you could tell like, oh, this is his top 5 favorite people probably, right? Because like
Yeah, now you're
only
looking
five,
like, oh, why didn't I get fucking picked? And fucking
right? So I
my
think
thing, my thing is, it's like in these times, right? Like in these like dire times, like this is when greatness comes out, right? Like unfortunately, like in Italy, they're getting crushed, right? But you see these like moments where they're like on the balcony with like a piano, like singing guitar, and here we're fucking sending push-up challenges. Like guys,
right,
you need to step it up a little bit. Like we're embarrassed, we're getting embarrassed out there. Like let's get creative, let's get fucking, like
right.
come on.
So
I'm sick of it.
I think a lot of it has to do. Actually, this is sort of where I wanted to take this conversation to. I think that this quarantine has instead of turned into like it's all of us, it's a collective effort.
Hmm.
It's isolation. It's like everybody's all worried about I right now, right? Everybody's me, me, me. Look at what I'm doing. Look at how I'm dealing with it. Look at like okay, we get it. But like everybody's so bored that they all have something like unique or like creative to share or like you could sort of sense where everybody's mind's at based off of what they're sharing,
Yeah.
right? Like I think like the common trend among my stories is I've been promoting other people's small businesses, sort of my circle's small business because that's where my mind's at right now.
Yeah.
And I think that so I've been doing some reading of my own. I won't divulge into exactly the whole book, but one of the topics that caught me so off guard, something that I was completely opposed to subconsciously, was the topic itself of narcissism
Mm-hmm.
or just being generally very self-absorbed. Before I get into sort of prefacing why I wanted to bring this up, Shant, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me how you would consider yourself. Do you consider yourself self-absorbed or outwardly self-absorbed? Or are you generally very about the other person? What's your general like social makeup?
So you basically know I'm an introvert, right? And so usually I'm not going to be the one kind of talking about myself much. Because like it was funny today, perfect example. So this guy's training me, and he asked me what did I used to do before, and I was like, oh, I was in resale. So I answered his question, right? And he's like, what about before? It's like I was in logistics, dispatch supervisor and stuff. Answered his question. I was like, what about you? 15 minutes later, I found out the fuck he said. Like he gave me his, you asked me a question, I'm going to give you the answer. Like fucking right away, right? This guy went on, he's talking about how he was an architect and he went to Dubai, then Abu Dhabi. He built these like islands and then he came back. He quit for a couple of years. He went to school. I was like, bro, just
Wow. Okay.
so that answers your question.
Okay. So let's reverse. Because I know exactly. I know you, Shant. I get it. I think that's like sort of like the New York in you that's coming out is like very quick. Like, come on.
Yeah, let's
move this. Right. So let's bring this back to him. Let's bring this back over to fucking Mr. Life Story here. What do you think was his general perception of you at the moment or during the moment that he was discussing everything about him? Do you think that he thought to himself, wow, this guy is really, really taking the time out to learn about me? Or was that for him just another opportunity to try and impress somebody?
I don't know. It's a good question, dude. I think he was trying to, I don't know if he was trying to impress me, but it was just, I literally didn't ask him anything in between.
Do you think that he felt more confident about himself after that encounter, or do you think he just left sort of neutral, like it didn't affect
He felt
him?
more confident about himself because I was like, oh, wow. Ooh, oh, really? Awesome.
Right. So normally when people do this, when they're listing off sort of their resume and their whole background and whatnot, to some degree they're trying to prove to you how much more valuable or how much more important they are than you. Subconsciously, believe it or not, he may actually think that he's more important than you. However, he's so absorbed into how much more important he is that he doesn't know how to express it to you yet.
So he's trying to like, because he's training me, right? So like he's supposed to be the guy. So he's trying to give me his resume of like, I'm important. Like this is why you should, not like in a like a thing negative way. Like
no, not at all.
He's trying to make it feel like, okay, like, oh shit, I need to listen to this guy because he really knows his stuff. Like, so he's trying to set the tone of like, yo, I'm that guy, so listen to me, right? Not in a negative way at all. Just like.
Okay, since I'm gonna be doing some editing on this podcast, right? Like I'm gonna be chopping it up. Do you want to go back?
Why?
In case this guy listens.
No. He's fucking old, bro.
Right.
He's like 70.
Just saying. Is he a part of the company?
Yeah.
Just gotta throw that out there. I mean, I think.
But I didn't say anything negative about him.
No.
Yeah.
You were trying to after
clean.
15 minutes. whatever. So
Yeah.
so in hearing all this, right, and nothing wrong to be said about any of this. This is a very, very common behavior. This is like Donald Trump behavior. I mean, even the most richest person in the world, he can go on and on and on about how important he is, but deep down, it's a deep-rooted psychological issue. How intricate that is, I'm not even gonna dive. Like, I'm not even gonna
Yeah, yeah. We're not
dig.
psychologists, so I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's set that aside for a second, and I want to approach this from the angle that is ultimately going to make you money. How you want to approach a character that is very, very, um,
So if you have a client or prospect that is that type of person that wants to talk about themselves
right,
and give you their resume, basically.
right, or even if he isn't, but they found themselves in your lap. They're interested in buying a house, or they're interested in buying a car, or they're interested in buying a sandwich. These are very, very particular, unique situations
Mm-hmm.
that people get to express not only their taste, but themselves, whether it be their taste in a house, where they want to live, what their style is like, in terms of what they're driving, what image they're trying to portray, or what they're eating. It's another expression of self, right? Whether they're a narcissist or not, you are there to satisfy that desire to be heard, to be understood, and for you to be able to give them the idea that you are doing the best that you can so that they can express themselves, to make that best possible decision and make that decision very easily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is very, very important because a lot of people get trapped into getting a narcissist or getting an introvert in their lap and not paying particular attention to the very detail that is involved with that character. It's almost like looking at a painting. Now, let me throw this at you for a second. I don't know if you have any sort of thoughts about this just yet. You don't have any thoughts or anything like that about this, right?
No, I want to ask you real quick. What do you think it's harder client to not deal with, to like communicate with, a narcissist or an introvert?
No, an introvert by a long shot, because the introvert, it's almost like you've got to do a lot of pulling. You've got to do a lot of
Yeah.
getting them to come out of their comfort zone. With the narcissist, this is where the beauty of this comes in. It's this next sort of part of this, what I want to discuss. But let me give you some idea of where my head's at right now. So a lot of people in sales will always say, like, if you want to sell, if you want to have your showroom selling cars, bring a woman into the showroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this isn't having anything to do with physical appearance. Obviously, okay, I get it. It might have something to do with physical appearance because we're naturally drawn to physical appearance. So the reason why a lot of women succeed in sales by a far shot, take aside the aspect of physical beauty, but the very reason that they succeed better is because of their ability to pay attention to detail.
Mm.
And not only are they paying attention more to details, both express or implied, they're better listeners to what you have to say. So they're
And
not.
they come off, sorry, like they come off more caring. Like they're here because they have that, like, I don't know what it is, but they have a motherly quality, right? And
Right.
they show that. And us guys, it's a little bit harder to pull that out.
Right. Especially
Right.
when the person doing that is equally as consumed with himself as the person that they're trying to help. So I think that the way that you can thrive in these scenarios, whether or not you don't like when somebody talks about themselves too much or not, is really understanding the benefit of when somebody is talking about themselves so much, using that to your advantage, using that as a way to really connect with them without having to do much.
Hmm.
Just take, for instance, you have a customer. The reason why I was able to do really well at BMW, right? So I knew about my product very well,
Hmm.
right? And I understood the dynamic between wanting a BMW and which BMW was going to do the trick. It was almost like I had a certainty that this vehicle will do the trick for this client based off of the needs that they expressed. And the very reason why I was able to pull those details out of them was my curiosity for those details. So naturally, if it's not a BMW and I don't care about a BMW, I don't care all that much for the details. The details don't do anything to me on an excitement, on any sort of excitement or any sort of tangible sense. They're just getting my mind working. That's all. So if you've got a client in front of you where you know this person is going to get you paid, the best sort of way to win them over and keep them there is to absorb everything it is that they're talking about, repeating what they're talking about back to them, and becoming and presenting everything that they're talking about as to make them, as to give them a sense that you completely 100% paid attention to the details and you understand what it's going to take to
Yeah.
satisfy them.
You know what I used to do when I was showing homes, like especially when I got a couple the first time, like going out, what I would do, because like you want to know when it's the right house for them, what they really want, right? Because they could tell you, I want this, I want a 4 bedroom, I need a big house, I blah blah, best kitchen, but like when you go out, you really know what they want. Because what I used to do is I used to walk in to the house and let them just walk around, right? I didn't go in and say, hey, this is the kitchen, it has this. Like I didn't do that. I let them just go, right? And I would just follow them and not ask them, what do you think of this? Because when you ask somebody, oh, what do you think of this? They're gonna be like, oh, it's good. Like they're not gonna be very thing. But I just used to watch their reaction to stuff, right? And where they spent the most time, like just naturally without me saying anything. And I'm able to say like, okay, this is more important to them than what they kind of told me before. So now like I would start sending them houses like, no, let's go look at this one. They're like, no, we, I'm like, no, trust me, let's go. We'd go and be like, oh, wow, like we really love this. Like, so you really have to, like you said, pay attention, man. Like it's so important to, just not just generically know what they want. Like you really have to know what, like I go off body language more than, you probably just something else, but that's what I used to go off of.
It's so interesting that you just mentioned hotspots. Sort of, what else would you be looking at, Shant, when they were in that house? What sort of cues were telling you, stay away from talking about this? Really, really touch on that. What else would you be looking for, man?
It's crazy because, so I'll tell you a little story. Like I've had listings, right? And then I would be there when the agent would show it. And then an agent would be showing it. And then I'm there. And then the agent's just like talking about this one part of the house. And then the buyer just like doesn't care. And he keeps focusing on that. I could see it in his face. Like they just don't care. But what I would focus on would be like, I would notice like, okay, are they in the backyard a lot? If they're not in the backyard, they don't care about a backyard as much, right? So that's like, okay, that's something they don't care about, a big yard. They don't care about all this stuff. And then it's like, how long are they in the bedrooms? Right? This is a big one, right? Because like some people want big bedrooms, right? Like huge bedrooms, right? So they're walking around, they're like, oh, this one's not that big, so like bedroom size is important to them, right? So when I'm looking at pictures for next houses, I'm like, no, guys, these are too small. Like the bedrooms are small. It's not even waste our time, right? But some people, they walk in and out, they don't even mention anything. Oh, it's a nice room. Okay, move on to the next one. So they don't care about bedroom size. So like little things like that. Are they hanging out in the kitchen, right? Like the key was after we were done, where did they stop to want to talk to me? That was usually one of the most important spots for them. Think about that. Where they ended and were like talking to me was usually the most important. Like if we gathered in the kitchen, they cared about the kitchen. If we were in the
Right.
living room talking, and they cared about like just entertaining the living room, like shit like that. If it was in the backyard, they really wanted a nice yard. They're all about outdoors. So it's like it was like a big tell, man, to like when they used to start talking to me and where they
I
were.
I want to hear more. So, when you were paying attention to details, could you tell that they were taking note of you paying attention to details? Would you bring it to their awareness that you were paying attention to details?
No, no. I never. I don't know if I should have, but I didn't. I never. They never. I don't think. I don't know if they caught on or they didn't. But I really just actually some of the the wives kind of picked it up sometimes.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
It was very, very, your approach was very, very subtle. It wasn't outward repeating.
Yeah. Like, oh, I know what you guys want. Like, Trey, you already said this to me. Like, no, I just because you know what else? Like, people don't understand. From the first time they go out, the first time they tell you something, things change, right? Um, and after five houses, what I thought they really wanted from what I got could change because of
That's
certain,
insane.
like it moves, bro. Like because now it's like they can't afford what they really want. So what is the next most important? Like it's never like they just want a big kitchen. That's it. And then like there's usually more to it. Like there's a lot more to it, man. It was just really just being present and just watching and observing what they are doing, what they're talking, their facial reaction, and when their kids would get super happy and would their parents be like, "Oh, stop it," or just like they'd be like, "Oh, look at it, she's so happy," and that means they cared more what the kid wants. Like it's
Right.
it's crazy.
So so like you just get it. You shot you just get it. You understand the value of paying attention. Not everybody is like you. I am not like you. I'm slowly learning that the more and more something, and this is my narcissist side, right? The more and more something has to do with me, the greater my patience for the conversation. If we're talking about football and football is important to you, there's a good chance that you're literally talking to a brick wall by
Yeah.
telling me about it. Right? But if you're talking about food or you're talking about cars or you're talking about, I don't know, I really don't. There's a really good chance that I'm paying attention. However, how much of my attention is being focused solely on what's important to you, that's a completely different subject. And I'm very, very, I'm motivated by your level of patience, or sorry, your level of patience to pay attention to these
So
types of details.
yeah. Well, thank you. So let me ask you, like, when probably the most passionate thing that you probably are passionate about. I don't know if that makes sense, but if someone asks you about BMW, right? Like, so a client wants to buy or lease a BMW. Like, my buddy Seneca hit you up, right? And
Yeah,
like, do you, how do you play that? Because that's like one of the most things. Like, you're the BMW guy, so it's like,
right.
how is that? Are you more worrying, listening to what they're saying? and what are you picturing what they probably need? Like, what is that conversation like?
So I try to keep it a very very brief, uh, sort of how you were mentioning about how that turned into like a 15-minute autobiography from that guy.
Yeah, but you know what? He
The
was
trainer.
probably very like he was probably passionate about his background because it was a sick background, dude. Like it was freaking I was like, whoa, like
Nice. Yeah, 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 nice. You know, if the person is approaching me, and this is something that I learned is you can get away with narcissism if you're being approached as a quote unquote celebrity by the fan, right? So if you're getting approached by a client asking you what you think about BMWs, it's very, very cool to start listing off facts. Don't list off your resume. But if somebody's coming at you like, yo, Ari, I love the channel. I love how you love BMW so much. Can you tell me more? And they're coming at you as like they're looking up to you about the subject, then you have a little bit more weight in the way that you're presenting your like your
so what would you
knowledge.
say? Like would you talk about, oh yeah, you know, I used to have the little BMW cars back in the day because I know you did the toy cars, and then my cousin Hurach would, you know, I'd ride in his BMW, and like, would you talk about that or would you just talk about product knowledge?
No, no, I wouldn't divulge into product knowledge at all. I would talk about how familiar I am, how much of how much the brand hits home because it strikes so many different memories in my lifetime. In like my earliest uh, uh, teens, all the way through my till now, even. Like I'm talking to people about how it's possible that the last BMW I had, the very last one, is possibly my last one for a little while because I've run through so many different BMWs types. So I just don't know anymore if I'm even going to be staying with the brand. They don't make a car that I really like anymore, but it could change. Who knows? So that's like the latest discussion.
Use, you
Yeah,
know?
so like I'm always talking about people about how it has had an impact in shaping my whole story throughout my life. BMW, and I'll be honest, Sean, like if we're talking real talk, BMW does actually have a very very big effect on my mood. You could talk about BMW and my mood will change.
Well, it's the same with me in basketball, right? Like it's it's my childhood. If you bring up basketball, I'm gonna be probably more extroverted.
So, so what if I told you that the very notion that somebody is giving you subliminal clues that this is for them, this is a hot topic conversation for them. And it could have nothing to do with the purchase or it could have nothing to do with their selection process, but it has everything to do with why they would want to buy from you.
Hmm.
Not so much you paying attention to the hotspot, but what was actually important about the hotspot? Are they looking for places in the house where they could fucking do Kama Sutra and try out fucking 75 different sex positions? What was it about the bedroom that really hit home? Like, we can put LED lights here and a black light, or like, what was so special about the yard? Are we gonna have like massive barbecues? Oh, you're into barbecue? I love that. What's your favorite food? It's not just understanding the hot spot. It's not just presenting the hot spot to them,
Uh-huh.
but it's really understanding what's so magical about that
You want to know
hot spot for you.
what it usually is?
What?
It's usually a pain point behind it. So why they want a big bedroom is because they probably came from a shitty small room and they're like, I need something bigger, or they already have something big and it's like I'm not going backwards. But or if it's the backyard, it's like I have my kids and you know they've just been going playing like at the neighbor's house and I want them to play in my house, so the backyard has to be big. So it's like the
There's
paint.
an unfulfilled desire that needs to be satisfied with this, right?
Yeah, and some people, man, like they'll hold it to their chest for a long time, dude. Like they won't bring it out.
Because
Like
they don't trust you.
yeah, It's crazy.
Because they don't trust you, bro. What I'm trying to really hit home in this is not just understanding them when they're doing it, why they're doing it, but what is it? What is the actual meaning behind why they're doing it? What is the cause? Like, bro, if we could take the time to really stand back and not even understand so much where it was, but why it happened, why it's hitting home for that person, I feel like that will separate you as being the person to be selling the house and not just somebody that could potentially sell them that house. So I guess this for me has been sort of a transformation in my own dialogue, stopping talking about me and really, really investing the time to understand you, to understand the emotion behind you.
Yeah.
One very interesting thing that I put to the test, I found it very strange and it worked. So if you were to perform the simple act of reading back somebody's order at a restaurant, detail for detail, they will stop and pay attention, detail for detail. And for instance, if you repeated back the order as opposed to just saying, all that, there's a likelihood of receiving a 25% higher tip from that person just based off of the fact that you repeated back the order to them.
Wow. Because you're, I could see that. Wow.
There is a 50%, or roughly, I think they said like 52 or 53 or whatever, but keep it at 50. It doubled. There's a 50% chance that by particularly pointing out how much that item, how much you personally suggest it, and for a particular reason, there's a good chance that they will also tip you higher, 50% more than what they originally had in mind, because you satisfied the actual transaction.
Wow.
So just to recap here, I know I fucking threw out so much, and I hope that sort of it makes you want to pay attention to a fucking self-absorbed prick the next time around, but listen with intent. And I think that even the most narcissistic prick will prefer you over just any other douchebag that comes in front of him. I guess that's all I have in terms of that. I don't know how much more you want me to go.
I want to know your opinion, so I'll definitely give you mine.
I would love it.
On basically social media and people selling on, because like, right, because you're talking about, you're trying to find out what the person, like what their pain points are, what they really want, repeating. But like on social media, you don't have that opportunity. You're just doing. So, right. But then there's the people who are just straight selling on social media. So like I know my buddy right now, he's doing like a course on how to sell on Instagram. And it's like, you got to ask these questions. You got to, like, it's just seems so fucking sleazy. Like, first of all, these guys who teach you how to, like how you could sell on social media, but they never sold you, but they're selling you a course. Like they suck you in and then they sell you a course, right? But they're telling you how to do it totally different than they're actually doing it. Because what they're doing is they're just giving out content and you're just signing up. right? So like, do you get what I mean? Like, so let's think
Yeah.
about this. This pyramid scheme guy, Jackass A, he has a course on how to sell on social media, right? But he doesn't do those tactics on his social media. He just puts out content. But then when these schmucks sign up to his to his course, it's all like these sleazy ways on how to sell, do these tricks and tips because they've sent me it, and like the guy doesn't do any of that. So it's like, do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah, please.
All right. So there's a certain key component in this that I think is very, very important to be able to sell anything at this point online. There's got to be a need for what you're selling. So I think that if you can determine whether or not what you're trying to sell is a need, I think you'll have far more success. But if what you're determined to sell has absolutely no bearing on the person's needs, and you're trying to insist a desire, there's got to be social proof. This douchebag, whoever he is, I hope that a part of his curriculum, he establishes the need for establishing need. And if there is a lack of need, social proof, as in Kim Kardashian is also using it. That's why you should be using it. This is a need in disguise. So I think that anybody that's pushing anything on you on social media, if it's not a need, then they're just wasting their time. I think that the only people out there that are trying to make a dollar, trying to push something that's not an absolute need, they got to be doing it for free. As in, they're producing entertainment content. They're producing prank videos. Maybe they're a really, really good photographer who takes pictures of, like, I don't know, fucking microphones. And, you know, you enjoy seeing pictures of microphones. And, oh, by chance, he also sells, you know, a photography course. I don't know. Just random. But you're giving out value for free. You cannot sell meaningless bullshit at this point on Instagram because people don't have the patience for it. You cannot connect with them that quickly. The only thing that establishes the connection is the need. They don't need it. They ain't gonna fucking buy it off your Instagram, and you're just wasting time. Don't do it. Like, Shant, the only reason why there's a lot of successful guys out there in this sphere is because they're doing it with either social proof or they're giving away shit for free on their Insta.
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine a narcissist coming onto one of these pages and buying a fucking fidget spinner off of one of these people. If he is gonna buy it, he's probably gonna buy it off of like Kylie Jenner's page and not Jose's page.
I'll send you this one douchebag's fucking page.
The key is social proof. If you're trying to tell a nobody to get out there and do your thing, it ain't gonna fucking happen.
That's all I got today, man.
No, I've been repeating back orders all week in the hopes that I'll see another person. I'll see that same person again the same week.
Yeah.
Just trying
how's the restaurant this week?
Put it this way, it's pretty consistent with last week, and last week was very surprising. So put it this way, it's definitely surpassed my expectation of the shit that I thought was gonna probably be in front of me, but it's actually been surprisingly busier than I anticipated. So I'm pretty happy on that end. However, everything else is slow. I'm not selling cars. YouTube views are drastically down.
No car sales either, huh?
Yeah, and I'm not upset. I am not upset, Sean. It's not like I didn't take my foot off the throttle. I'm just kind of just watching the scenery right now. I'm kind of just
Yeah. I mean,
The pandemic.
what can we do, right?
Just hope, just stay healthy right now. That's all you can do. You can't do this shit if you're, not breathing anymore in a couple months. So
That's all that matters, man.
yeah.
All right.
Hope I didn't ear fuck you on this one. Was this a good one? Did you like this one?
Did you guys like it?
It's all about you right now.
Oh man. All right. Well, you have yourself a good night, sir.
You as well.